Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic, and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, there's another podcast video with Recon Trooper.
Hey there, folks. Recon Trooper here, and if you're watching my video, I hope you enjoy the Jedi Outcast and Disney Infinity Pirates gameplay in the background.
Ooh, I'm doing, you guys will see it, but I'm doing some Modern Warfare 3, maybe a little bit of Assassin's Creed. I don't know, we'll figure it out, but make sure to like our videos on my channel and Recon's channel. I'm going to have a link for his channel down below, obviously in the description. You guys know how this works by now.
Yeah, and vice versa on my end.
Video. Thank you. But I don't know, this is probably going to be around an hour like it normally is. But if you get all the way through, thank you for listening. You don't need to watch it. You know, the gameplay's there just if you want to watch it. But really, it's a podcast, so if you want to listen to it all the way through, thank you very much. Again, make sure to like and subscribe. It's free, takes a second, helps us out a ton. Without further ado, let's do this.
Yeah, and what Assassin's Creed? Shadows? As everybody's waiting for that one.
If I had gameplay on Shadows, I'd be a very happy camper.
Yeah, until the authorities come in and say, no, can't have it right now, it's too early.
Yeah, the samurais and ninjas would come and get me.
Okay, so the first topic, well, I'll start with this one because it's kind of a serious thing actually, but I feel like it needs to kind of the basic meaning behind it needs to just get out there more. Even though there's videos like you wouldn't believe about this whole thing ever since it's came up earlier in the week, but basically fandoms, and this started with the Godzilla fandom, but I'm going to be talking about all fandoms. Well, we are, of course. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not a one-sided podcast, right?
That's just listening to a dude.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want to just listen to me talking people, there's a video on my channel. Go watch it. I talk for almost an hour just about fandom stuff. But yeah, so basically what got this whole thing started is it started with the Godzilla fandom, and it's basically been the focus this whole time on other people's videos of, there was this one YouTuber that was part of the Godzilla fandom, and to be honest, I don't consider fandom and fan or fanatic to be quite the same thing. Fandom is more of a kind of a group of fans, whereas fanatic is like you're just a one man group, I guess.
Yeah. I'm a one man band.
Yeah, but and I guess some disturbing things were going on with her because she, I don't remember her name entirely, but other people were saying her name in their videos, so if you want to know her name, then it's not hard to find a video right now about this whole thing. Just search Godzilla fandom toxicity or whatever, and you'll be blessed with so many videos since the beginning of the week. But she basically, I guess she was being, I didn't watch the video personally, I've just heard about it from others, but apparently she was kind of,
toxic,
sexually harassed by guys when she was a teenager.
Okay.
Like Godzilla fandom guys, and she's apparently didn't, when her face was revealed or something, then I don't entirely know the story, but something about that, and I think she said that
sounds weird.
She didn't like the MonsterVerse, and then people started death threatening her. And
So all right, so let me get this straight. So there's a girl and there's a bunch of dudes that like the MonsterVerse, and they were sexually harassing her, and then she says, I don't like the MonsterVerse.
They were just sexually harassing her when she was a teenager. It wasn't about the MonsterVerse, I don't think. But
okay.
The death threats were about the MonsterVerse because people have this insanity in their minds about if somebody doesn't like something I do or vice versa, that, it's, well, people see what blasphemy does to other people in the Middle East. So that's kind of the idea behind the thinking. You don't like something, you're a
traitor.
Yeah. And so
pretty much. No, I mean, you bring up a good point. There's I haven't heard that story, but there are stories where it's, there's fans of something, and then there's, as I call them, fake fans, but that just goes beyond those terms. I mean, that's just...
Yeah.
I know death threats are actually sadly common. I've gotten death threats on Twitter, but it doesn't bother me because I know they're a bunch of turds, but, people say a lot of things behind the screen because it's hard to track them, and you can say whatever the heck you want. But, I mean, just people like that, they're sick in the head, and they need help, and we can't give them help.
And it also, I mean, some of the videos that were kind of showing their support for this girl, they were saying, like, people that are seeing it that are also in those fandoms that actually maybe are against this maybe should start doing something, like speaking up about it, like, being like a like a bully,
supportive.
Being supportive, and if they see somebody bullying somebody else, to give that bully a message, that's not acceptable in this fandom or something. And some of those people in those videos were saying how if you don't say anything, you're just as bad because you're allowing it to happen. And I admit I've never had the toughest spine when it comes to engaging with angry people. There was one comment on Facebook I saw, I think it was last night, on Star Wars, and somebody talking about the Disney Plus stuff, period, I think, or the Acolyte, because that's the newest thing. And this other person said, shut the F up, and some other stuff I don't remember. And I was really tempted to tell that person, no, he doesn't have to. It's his opinion. He's entitled to it. If you don't like that, go somewhere else, or, say something. But I kind of, at the same time, as toxic as the Star Wars fandoms are, on Facebook, I don't see quite the toxicity that is implied elsewhere. Like, I think you said on Twitter, enough with the Twitter already. It's X, okay? You said that.
Never calling it X.
Yeah, you said that on X. You see like the worst of the worst sometimes, and that's what. And so on Facebook, when I see it, it's kind of mild, actually, and not to mention everybody has this way of just saying, like, either they don't say anything, which actually is another thing people should do if they, like, I try not to say anything if somebody comments. Granted, I don't comment on things anymore, period, because I don't really need to. I mean, I haven't seen the Acolyte, so what am I going to comment on? Except say, I'm not getting Disney Plus, so I won't be seeing this. Yeah. That's all.
I haven't seen this yet. Yeah, just comment that.
But, like, usually it's not so bad, as far as I can tell, on the things that I read on Facebook, in the comments sections. But I'm sure, Discord has servers galore made by, I'm sure, a lot of these toxic people. And
I'm sure,
and X, I don't have X or Instagram or anything of that magnitude. Facebook is my limit, basically, and sort of Discord, but I use it for, doing this, really. I don't even say much on your server anymore, so.
Yeah, it's tough. That's another topic.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're right. The stuff on Twitter, X, whatever, it's gotten to a point where it is difficult to talk about certain things without a group of people freaking out. And again, like what you like, dislike what you I don't really care what you like and dislike, but at the same time, if people bully people or make the death threats, or I mean, we've all heard the stories of Jake Lloyd, who played Anakin in The Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
He went to jail. He went crazy, just because he couldn't take it. And then there were death threats against the guy that played Jar Jar, Ahmed Best.
And you could say that you could say at the time social media was mild compared to now.
And if anything, it's gotten worse now, because you look at like Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley doesn't even have a social media. She's smart enough not to even do that.
Yeah.
And then you get like Kelly Marie Tran, Rose Tico in the sequel. She got bullied, of course, because she's Asian and I guess a little chunky, maybe for a girl. I don't know. I mean, I don't think she's fat. A lot of people call her fat.
No.
But yeah, people are they're just like, you're a fan or you're not a fan, but then you're also just a good person or a bad person.
Yeah.
And a lot of the fans in quotations.
In my video, I say a few times anyway. I don't say it throughout the whole thing, but I say, fans boast about what they like, and they don't bash what they hate. And so if you're just gonna bash everything you hate about Disney Star Wars, which also I don't call it that, I sort of do in imaginative quotation marks, but I don't call it Disney Star Wars or the other ones that you have less positive things to say about but still like, apparently. I don't call those George Lucas Star Wars either. I just call it Star Wars, period. Even the Ewok cartoon thing that was released back in whenever is Star Wars, even if there's no lasers at all. Although I should have thought of that when I said something on my video, which when you get to it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it's Star Wars, period. You like it or you don't like it. There's no Disney Star Wars just because they own the IP, and there's no George Lucas Star Wars simply because he made the IP. It's Star Wars. You bring up a good point. Yeah, you nailed it, because I saw a tweet a few days ago that I retweeted, and I was like, hey, this is making sense. Like you said, like the only people that called Star Wars Disney Star Wars are the haters. Or Disney Wars.
Actual fan. Right. No actual fan. Like, it's nonsensical. It's like calling it, hey, you want to watch a Disney Marvel movie? Like, they just call it a Marvel movie.
Sure.
Hey,
does Mickey Mouse play Spider-Man?
Yeah, right. They'll go, do you want to watch a WB DC movie? Like, no, who the hell says that? No one says that. It's completely nonsensical. And like you said, no one calls it George Lucas Star Wars.
Or Fox Star Wars, even.
Right, exactly. People don't. This doesn't seem to click with people. And I'm assuming people listening to this know this, but a lot of people don't know this. Disney doesn't make Star Wars. Lucasfilm makes Star Wars. Lucasfilm has always made it, and they always will. Disney simply legally owns the IP. Yeah, they don't make it. They just
they can give it to like game developers who want to make Star Wars games, or they want to give it to Hasbro to make Star Wars toys or whatever. That's all. That's what they're about. They're about sharing it with people who want to make something out of it, but they don't make it themselves. Otherwise, we'd have action figures that look like Ditto from Pokemon, but different color all the time.
Right, exactly. Yeah,
because they don't know how to make an action figure. So why would you think they make Star Wars if they can't even make an action figure from the IP themselves, and they don't have to get Hasbro to do it?
Yeah, it's crazy. And the other thing is that if people actually use their brain for 2 seconds and just actually watched the quote unquote Disney Star Wars stuff, it's good.
Yeah,
Disney is not gonna.
From what you do watch, anyway.
They're not gonna intentionally make something that's dreadful or awful. They're not. They're not stupid. So a lot of people, and we talked about this, I think, last podcast with the Acolyte. People are over on Twitter freaking out. I mean, they're like, "Oh my God, it retcons everything," and they disrespected the lore and the canon. And I'm like, no, they didn't. You just don't know what's going on.
Well.
And that
I don't even know how the Acolyte. I don't even know how the Acolyte. I haven't watched it, but how does it even connect to the? how does it even connect to the Skywalker saga? Besides, of course, the special lightsabers that apparently don't kill anybody in this show. They're non-lethal lightsabers in this show, apparently, from what I've heard.
I mean, there's only one more episode left. I saw the first 7. A lot of people die. I mean, no spoilers, obviously, for people listening who haven't seen it. But, I mean, see it, watch it. It's a good show. It's actually not horrible. According to the hardcore Republicans, because, look, I'm Republican. You guys know that. I'm not afraid to say that. I'm right wing, but I'm not one of the weirdos who was like, Leslie Headland ruined my life. I'm not like that. So it's actually a good show.
Yeah.
There are no lightsabers that, I mean, a lot of people die from lightsabers, but it's just, if people just watched it and listened, and the way that it connects is it's set during the High Republic, which is 100 years before Episode 1. So
Yoda might cameo.
No Yoda cameo, no.
Actually, I said Yoda might cameo if they make future stuff.
He might. He might in the last one. The only connection to the Skywalker saga so far is, I mean, there's like 1 or 2 baby things, but the biggest thing is the Sith guy called the Stranger. There's a few moments where the music plays and it's Kylo Ren's theme song. You can hear like slight variations of his theme, which people are saying this might connect to the Knights of Ren. I don't know. I haven't seen the final episode, but
I certainly haven't.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth seeing if you can get like a free trial or something, or buy the Blu-ray when it's cheap on E-Crater or something.
Well,
I don't mind it. I think it's okay.
Yeah, but back to the other fandom thing though. But yeah, and also the people talking about the Godzilla fandom simply say it's every fandom's like this, but. Yeah, every fandom is like this. That's why you shouldn't just be talking about the Godzilla one, because it shouldn't just be a message to the Godzilla fandom. It should be a message to all fandoms. Don't act like morons. Be better than those morons. If somebody is being like a Tito to somebody else, then if you've seen Force Awakens without walking out after the first 2 seconds, then you'll know that. Then anybody seeing somebody being like a Tito to somebody else, be like Rey and get in between them, on the computer, of course, and tell them to get lost or stop being mean,
Yeah. And you bring up a point because, it's not just Star Wars or the Monsterverse. Every fandom has some toxic losers. But the important thing is, like
Monsterverse is just one universe, but this is about the Godzilla fandom as a whole. Like, those that hate the Monsterverse are being crucified from those that like the Monsterverse, and anybody who says the Monsterverse is great are being crucified by anyone who likes all the Godzilla stuff before it, Anybody who says they don't like Shin Godzilla, which I can't say I like or dislike it. Granted, I don't necessarily like what he looks like because he doesn't look anything like Godzilla in the pictures I've seen. Especially the end of his tail looks more like a club. People that don't like Shin Godzilla are being threatened by people that do, and like it's but it's like that with every fandom.
It's bad.
You don't like the originals. You don't like Luke Skywalker in the originals. Somebody's gonna get at you for it because Luke is perfect in the originals compared to Last Jedi, where he was completely destroyed because Rian Johnson knows how to, make the character appear more, human. And people are saying, like you were talking in your Thor review, people don't like Thor Dark World for whatever reason. And I'm sure there's people that, if you say, they like it, they're going to get Iron Man'd to death from somebody else, right? So it's in every fandom. It's not just Godzilla, not just Star Wars, not just Marvel, not just, Universal. Or, well, I shouldn't say Universal, Shrek. I'll use Shrek as an example. It's a franchise, or, whatever. Ninjago. I hate Ninjago. Sorry, franchise. But
no. I mean, I've seen toxic stuff in Ninjago. It's in everything, and it shouldn't be in anything because and the other thing is that once YouTube doesn't help either.
No.
Because you get either, mainly it's political now, especially like for some, like again, I'm Republican, but you get these hard right Republicans that are just freaking crazy. And they make these YouTube videos, right? You guys listening, you know what I'm talking about. It's the YouTube thumbnail with like Leslie, the creator of the Acolyte, Leslie Headlander, someone, Kathleen Kennedy. They have some crazy look on their face. They're crying, big words. It's a really eye-catching thumbnail.
Do they have big eyes too? Usually
big googly eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, and there is.
Well, I've seen the things. I haven't actually clicked on them because I could care less what somebody else thinks. I mean, I will admit that from the things I heard before Acolyte came out, that the director for it, she didn't sound all that appealing. And I mean, something I can possibly get on some of the criticism for these people is that they don't seem to be having at least all the fans' best interest at heart when it comes to, they seem to be like, I don't care about the fans. I just want to make what I want to make. And that's not exactly a good attitude either, but, like I'm not watching it right now because I don't care about Disney Plus, but, if people are watching it, they're choosing to watch it. They're not being forced to.
Yeah.
If they don't want to watch something from a fan hater, then don't watch it. But don't watch it just to complain about it. A
lot of people also need to understand that, just because you want something and it didn't happen doesn't make the thing you're watching bad. Like if you ask a lot of people, like Star Wars Theory, for example, he's not watching this. He doesn't care.
No. I think his thing got taken down actually because of something he said. I don't remember. I just read something that he got karma or something a little while ago. But anyway, you were saying.
Well, he goes on these tangents and he's like, oh well, they didn't have a lightsaber fight, or they didn't do this, or they didn't do what I wanted, so it's bad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I get it. Like creators of things should do stuff that fans will like, but also these people have stories to tell.
Yeah.
And as long as they're still good stories, as long as it didn't go, like for example, we'll use Finn for example in the sequels. A lot of people wanted Finn to be a Jedi, and they wanted him to do this big stormtrooper rebellion, and
you never know. Cool. It might still happen.
It might still happen, exactly.
John Bodega gets a conscience and says, who cares what they think? I'll do this for those who actually do like it,
Yeah, exactly. But, a lot of people, because XYZ didn't happen, they then say, oh, Finn was wasted. Finn didn't do nothing. He was horrible. He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, clearly they're not watching this trilogy with a friggin' brain, because he's one of the most important characters in the whole trilogy or franchise. Like, just because he didn't, use his lightsaber
or have one,
mean that he was a wasted character. Right, or have one. I'm sure he'll be getting one soon. He is Force sensitive.
Yeah.
But, people, they got to step back, man. They really do. They just got to use their brain. Because going back to the YouTube thing, people see these YouTube thumbnails, as I was saying, people see these YouTube thumbnails and these crazy videos, and they click on it, and then they watch it, and it's all clickbait. There's no actual evidence to what this guy's saying to back up his opinion. No. And people, mostly people that are sheep or that are, weak-minded,
zombies,
force-sensitive to the zombified, they absorb this stuff, and they're like, oh, okay, well, this guy has a lot of subscribers, so clearly he's telling the truth. And then it just starts this hate train and this, hate snowball. And it's really sad to see.
Yeah. But anyway, on to the next topic, because I don't want this to be the only one. So speaking of actually speaking of fandoms, and you said we would do it the next time, last podcast. So what about the prequels, specifically Episode 2, do you like about them? Because every time you talk about them, you're bashing them, and you kind of break your own advice by saying, like, talk about what you like and don't worry about what you don't like or something, and you kind of don't take your own advice on when it comes to the prequels. Yeah. So what do you like about the prequels?
Yeah, so when it comes to reviews, when I'm watching these movies, I do cringe a little bit, but I don't when I watch them for fun, I'm not like, oh my god, that was horrible, I gotta do it. Really, I just talk about it when I review it. Yeah. When I'm doing a marathon, I move on with my life. But yeah, I genuinely do love a lot about we'll start with episode 2, but again, I consider Attack of the Clones the worst Star Wars movie. But there are things to like. I like Yoda being CGI. I do like some of the dialogue. Obviously, I can't think of all of it right at the top of my head, but there are dialogue things I like.
You like lines that aren't, but you don't like how they're delivered, like the one we know about on Naboo.
Yeah, right, exactly. But there are lines that I also like the delivery of. I like when Obi-Wan is look, Ewan McGregor is he's awesome in that trilogy. But I like when they're on Geonosis and Anakin's like, we came to rescue you, and he's like, good job. He's sarcastic. She seems to be on top of things, and Padme's on top of a pillar. There's good jokes like that and good things like that. I think C-3PO's good. I think he makes some really corny jokes, and that's funny.
Yeah.
Jango Fett is cool. I like the action in that movie.
Yeah. He was actually at the time he was kind of my favorite. Sort of my favorite character because he was the first time we actually saw someone in that armor after Boba Fett do stuff, because Boba Fett, Boba Fett, I would admit in the original trilogy was a wasted character because we don't see what makes him so deadly, and I think in the Mandalorian he finally makes up for it or something. From what I've
Book of Boba
Fett, seen and what I've heard, but yeah, in the original trilogy, Boba Fett is, he's basically like the Hulk in Endgame. He's all bark and no bite, really.
Yeah.
Or in this case, he's more. Yeah, I think he's all statue and no stature.
Yeah, that's a good way. But I think some people confused cool looking character with good character, and that's not the same thing.
But Jango Fett, anyway, I thought was a really good one, and he made up for it, and especially that battle with Obi-Wan. That's the only time we actually get to see him use both his pistols, because I think he loses one in that fight, and then he's stuck with one pistol the rest of the time until Mace Windu, relieves him of his duty.
His brain. Yeah.
But
no, look, I love I like the idea that Anakin has to protect her. There's a really good scene where Anakin is talking with Padme, and I think it's Queen Jimala, maybe, and they're in the Naboo Council, and Anakin's trying to give advice, and he's a little angsty, and he thinks I'm better than Padme, I'm a Jedi, and Padme's like, no, Anakin, shut up. I know this planet, this is my home.
The old guy kind of asked for his advice to begin with, so
yeah.
If that wasn't the case, and Anakin, if he was just asking, any suggestions from you, and Anakin was just about to say something, and then Padme butted in, that would be a little more right. But if he's asking Anakin specifically, even referring to him as a Jedi Master, sorry Jedi Council, this guy called him Master.
Yeah, there you go. Problem solved.
Yeah, then it's kind of like, Anakin's got his attitude, but Padme maybe should recognize that he wasn't talking to her, he was talking to Anakin,
Yeah. This is all Padme's fault.
Yeah. She did it.
Just blame her. But yeah, no, I like I said though, I do like that's a good scene. I like that we kind of I do like Shmi's death scene. I think it's well acted, well written. I wouldn't have filmed it like that. If I was directing, I would have done it differently.
Like what?
But it is rated
in the
PG.
night?
Well, yeah. So I would have kept it at nighttime, but I think if I didn't really buy Anakin's rage because they cut too quickly, I would have had him kill more Tuskens on screen.
Yeah.
more brutally. I mean, he did behead 2 of them, which is basically pushing the PG limit to its limits already. But I mean, a bunch of people get beheaded in that movie. But
trilogy,
yeah, I would have just
not just
had
movie.
it longer. Right, trilogy. True. Yeah, I would have just maybe made it a little longer. But I like that scene. Obviously, the Battle of Geonosis with the clone troopers and the droids and all that is great.
Yeah.
You know, really, this is the beginning of the whole Clone Wars, and without this movie, we wouldn't have the animated show, so that's cool. But
yeah.
I mean, it does. Like, I do dislike things more than I like them with this one because it's my worst one. But there are things that I like.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to come across as this prequel hater, but I mean, there's moments where I'm like, oh my god, like I love this. I love this scene. I love when Anakin goes. See, I think Anakin. I don't know who does it. Maybe it's Padme, but she's like, "Oh, see," and then Anakin goes, "3PO?" Like he finishes her sentence. I like that. I like him.
No, 3PO's the one that says it. He's like, "How may it be of service? IMC."
That's right.
3PO. You know.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Obviously, I like the ending. How it's pretty sinister. How the Clone Wars happen, and there's some really good cinematography.
Yeah.
I love the
that end scene with all the clones and the assault ships taken off. I like the music that plays because it's really, you know, like if you watch it in order, this is really the beginning of that Empire theme too.
Oh, that's true.
Well,
that's true.
I guess there's a very slight hint of it in Episode 1 when Yoda and Obi-Wan are talking about Obi-Wan becoming his master. If you listen really carefully, you hear a few beats anyway from that theme, but it's not until Episode 2 that it really starts to start, you know, and then Episode 3, and then Episode 1 came first, sorry people, so it didn't exist in that one. In fact, that theme never existed after Episode 1 either. You know, the one in Episode 4, the one they use for Vader, you never hear that one after either. So,
oh, wow.
I guess
I gotta pay more attention to the music.
Yeah, like it goes dun dun dun, you know, and you never hear it again. It's always the music we're so familiar with.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that one. Okay, you jogged my memory.
Okay, good.
I also like Jar Jar Binks. I think obviously he has a lesser role in this. I was never a hater of Jar Jar. I never hated him.
No, I wasn't either.
He's supposed to be an idiot. His whole race are full of idiots. I mean, King Boss Nass is like a big booger. So I mean, like,
yeah,
you know, obviously they're not super serious. I mean, Jar Jar does basically F the entire galaxy though. By giving Palpatine more power.
It's not entirely his fault, though. Nobody knew Palpatine, not even the Jedi, who probably should have. I don't know. I mean, you think the Jedi, if they really tried hard enough, would have been powerful enough to notice Palpatine before he went ahead with his plan, or, you know, like...
That's another thing that I do like about the whole prequels is that the Jedi... And this is in the Clone Wars show too, which is part of the prequels. But the Jedi claim to be, we're keepers of the peace, we're not soldiers, and they claim to be this and they claim to be that, but they're actually something different. And I like that because they're basically like, I mean, they're the heroes, you know, they're the good guys.
Yeah.
But they make so many mistakes, they can't even notice that the most powerful Sith Lord is right freaking in front of them the whole time, and it's like sometimes it's like stupidly obvious, and they're like, nah, no way. What are you, stupid? And like I know that's a fault, but that I like that aspect. I like that the Jedi, they're not just good all the time.
Yeah.
Some of them make mistakes and they're flawed. I like that.
Yeah, like I mean, you see in that one arc with that one clone that's trying to expose Order 66, you know, and he actually is about to shoot Palpatine, I think, or something, and then I think it's Luminara, or no, Shaak Ti. She steps in between him and Palpatine. So you kind of wonder who's the real, you know, who are the Jedi really protecting here? Democracy or the Sith Lord?
Exactly right. It gets pretty... delves into that too. With there's a lot of arcs in the show. They're called arcs. And there's a lot of good arcs in that show too, where they, the Jedi are claimed to be one thing and they're actually not, and it's really good. I mean, there's some moral gray areas and stuff in it. I think that really works.
Yeah. So, but
and then we get to episode 1.
Yeah.
There's stuff I like in that too.
Yeah, and well,
episode 3 is
quickly going back to episode 2. I actually don't mind Anakin's acting. I mean, in a way, it does seem realistic. He is an adult. He just started his adult years, I guess, maybe, because he's about 19, I think. So he doesn't quite know maturity to the full extent yet. But he acts like anybody who's hasn't been on their own yet, because he's been with Obi-Wan all this time, and
right.
actually having compassion and care about people in the galaxy, much to the Jedi's chagrin, where they think it's a dangerous thing to have because it leads to the dark side. It's more, it's kind of, it's natural for him to be like that. I mean, maybe some of his temper tantrums are a little overboard, like when he
wait. There's one scene in this movie that the Acolyte did better, and it's not really a spoiler, but when Anakin is talking with Padme and he's like, "Oh, I killed all the Tuskens," and he freaks out and he throws a can, you guys can't see me, but he throws a can, and
it's all Obi-Wan's fault.
Makes it, yeah, that meme online where that little, I don't know if I should say midget, but the little person jumps into water and goes like that. It's like that. Anakin throws a can and it makes a literally baby noise.
Oh.
And I don't know. I just feel like he does have good scenes and he does have good acting in some scenes. Some of the writing is genuinely good. And I feel like
even if the choreography isn't that great, at least it was a cool duel with Dooku in the dark. We don't see very many saber fights in the dark. We just see them, in CGI environments for the most part, especially in the prequels. And the sequels, they're not... Well, they're one lightsaber short in the sequels, because Last Jedi has that fight with the Praetorian Guards instead. And, but, in the Episode 9, it's on the Death Star during a rainy day, and so, we don't see really fights in the dark, just plain dark, maybe a little light, so it's not pitch black except for the lightsabers and their glows, but they should definitely do more of those. In the next when the Rey movie comes out, there should be a scene like that with her yellow lightsaber fighting maybe I don't know, somebody who stole a lightsaber from some dead Jedi's grave or something, and they have a duel in a dark cave before maybe some new creature that they make for the movie comes out and scares the both of them out or something.
No, yeah, I like that too. I think with that scene, I like the idea. And the fight is good up until they cut in my opinion, I think the execution wasn't that great.
Once they start doing the lassos around their heads.
Right. Yeah, that's a little too much for me there, but no, I do like the fight with Yoda and Dooku.
Yeah.
I like the scene with Obi-Wan chasing Jango in the asteroid
Yoda's
belt.
the only one who has lightsaber glow on him, actually.
True. Yeah. Well, yeah. Exactly.
And Grievous in Episode 3, he's got lightsaber glow. Everybody else is.
Yeah, it's because they're CG, I guess, but.
I don't know why everybody else doesn't.
I like that Obi-Wan is it's like a mystery romance.
Yeah.
You get Anakin and Padme mucking around in the field, and then you get Obi-Wan who's I'm trying to find this star system, and Jocasta knew the librarian.
Yeah.
I didn't know this, but Jocasta knew the librarian actually was a Jedi too. I didn't know that. I thought she was just librarian, but she's like, "Do you have a problem, Master Kenobi?" And he's like, "Bro, chill. Just gonna find this planet. Chill out." So there's stuff I like. There's
maybe
some good
the
stuff.
Actress was going deaf, and so she kind of has to speak up to hear herself a little. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But overall, have a problem with it. It's just, you know, every time you talk about it, you're only talking about what you don't like about it, even if it's brief, because that's not what you're really talking about. You know, you're mainly talking about something else. But yeah, it's just, you know, you don't talk about what you do like about it when you bring it up, even slightly. Yeah. So that's why I felt
I might have to make a video one day.
Yeah. And next time you talk about the sequel, or all of Star Wars or the Skywalker saga anyway, mention the sequel or the prequels, then at least mention one thing or two things you like about them. Before you say everything else, the writing and the acting is kind of cheesy and all that, but I like these things, so it's not a total wash.
Yeah. Right. No, I genuinely do love the prequels.
Yeah.
I mean, warts and all, I think they're really fun to watch. They're very action packed, good story. Yeah, I mean, I've done it. I've said it before, and I've talked about it. I'll have to make a video on it, but. I think my favorite would go episode 3. I think that's everyone's favorite, and then 2, or 3, 1, 2. I mean, it was great just to see the Phantom Menace in theaters again for the anniversary a little while back.
Oh yeah,
that was cool
on the big screen.
I got to cringe with my popcorn.
Yeah, wait until episode 2's turn. You can.
Yeah.
Maybe get some Twizzlers or nibs, and then you can cringe at the romance scenes, you know.
Exactly.
Especially the famous one that you really don't like in just before the arena.
Yeah. I don't think anyone likes it. I mean,
well,
I don't know why.
I mean, when you say that you think George Lucas thinks everybody's a toddler or is for toddlers or whatever, like maybe it was meant for toddlers. I mean, kids were the biggest fans when they see Star Wars, so you know, just to see all the cool sci-fi stuff that they could only ever dream about having in their life.
Yeah.
So
I mean, well, the thing is too, like, you know, Ninjago isn't a kid show, but kids watch it. Ninjago, you haven't seen it, but it's got like really adult themes and messages. Like if you actually watch the show, like it's crazy.
It's a Lego show, isn't it?
It's Legos, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why they called it Lego Ninjago movie if it's Ninjago's Lego all the time. Unless it is there live action in the movie? Maybe that's the reason.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would maybe be more why, but.
Yeah, there's live action.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, like I said, I think that I like the cinema of that arena scene. I like the cinematography. I like the music. There's that shot where they're kissing and it's like a wide shot of them in the darkness and they emerge in the arena light.
Just before Obi-Wan can see them.
It's just the writing that's a bit wonky. Yeah, right. He's like, oh, Anakin, what are you doing? Yeah.
But yeah, so.
Yeah, like I said, the acting isn't actually that bad in that scene. I think Padme delivers it well. It's just. You know, I truly, deeply love you. I don't think anyone would ever say that. Like, that's something I would never buy for a second, you know.
Well, you could say it to your future girlfriend and see how she reacts.
Yeah. Well, I almost had a girlfriend. I should have said that.
Maybe pray she hasn't seen episode 2 yet when you say it, though. And then after you say it, then watch it with her, and she could be like, so that's where you got that line from.
Yeah. And then she'll break up with me.
Yeah. But
I almost had a girlfriend. I should have used that line. I should have told her I truly, deeply love you. Then it would have all changed. But
yeah. But anyway, you got a topic?
Yeah, I was actually gonna mention video games that you thought you wouldn't like, but then you did like once you played them.
Well, the only ones I can think of are possibly. Not Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, the ones I've played anyway, not counting the one that I don't even remember playing because I only got one achievement on it, and that was, I think it was Revelation back on the 360 days, and I don't remember playing it, so, but the ones that I have played, rage, frustration, headache still are going to be there. But overall, explorations are kind of, I wouldn't say make up for it, but they help anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
help,
interesting. Yeah,
so.
like for me, it would have to. I mean, we mentioned it a little bit last time, but for me, it would have to be the Dark Souls things. Like I was deathly afraid. Like I was like traumatized to play Elden Ring because I've always wanted to play it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's getting good reviews. It looks freaking amazing, but I'm good at games. You know, it's not like gaming is a hobby. It's not an addiction for me. So like I play games a lot, but I'm not like, you know, all day, every day doing it. But I was like, yeah, maybe it's too much for me. And I mean, no, I beat Elden Ring. I recently beat Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is pegged as one of the hardest video games of all time.
Oh. When you brought that up last time, how far were you in it compared to, like, and when did you beat it? Like, obviously it was before this podcast, but...
Yeah, I think I had like one more boss. I think I had the final boss left, and then after that, I just kind of roamed around the areas and got collectibles and all that.
Was that the boss? Was really hard. You were saying it took 2 hours, or was that a different one?
Yeah, so the final boss of Sekiro is actually normally with like Souls games, a boss is 1 to 2 phases. This guy is 4 phases. And if you die, you have to redo all 4. There's no saving.
So forget that 2-hour boss. This one was probably all hell breaking loose when you were trying to beat him.
Yeah, I thought I was going to summon Satan to beat him because it took me literally. Normally when I do a boss, it takes me, in any other game, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. But these games, I mean... They're hard, but they're fair. They're not they're not insurmountable. Like you can do it, but it took me 2 days to kill them. All 4 phases took me 2 days, and I did break my controller.
Finally,
I feel bad because I fixed it. Don't worry. The right thumbstick came out, but I fixed it, so we're good. It was genuinely frustrating because the thing with the boss is that like it's not open world, but there is free roam. The areas are big and you can freely explore them.
Would you say it's kind of like Dead Island 2 in that regard?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's maybe a little smaller than that, but they're definitely made for exploration. Yeah. And the issue is that once you start the final boss, you cannot. You can explore, but you're really not supposed to until you defeat him because you get certain things.
Yeah,
and it was just like, it was just, just my gamer pride because I'm like, I've beaten every boss in this game. I'm not bad at games, and I was just like, why can't I kill this motherfudger? Like, what am I doing wrong? And when I killed him, I let out like the most Viking scream of my. I was like Thor in Oakenshield. Oh. It was crazy.
I think I heard you at that moment.
Yeah.
And I was asleep.
The adrenaline was literally... No, speaking of sleep, I slept like a baby that night because like my adrenaline it left and I was like, I can sleep now.
Yeah.
But so I finished Sekiro and then I finished Dark Souls 1, another great game, and now I'm working on Lords of the Fallen 1, which is the one from 2014, not the new one. I just started today. At the time of the podcast, so I'm like 20 minutes in.
Okay.
Not great, or not bad. It's pretty good. But yeah, those were just games that like I was kind of afraid to play them because I'm like, what if they're too hard and I can't do it? But
I think
they're really
there's not a lot of games I was afraid to play per se. There's just things in the games I was afraid to try to do because I'm a completionist, or if there's something that I know I can get because it doesn't require playing online, multiplayer or whatever, but it's something I can maybe do in a thing, or if it's especially a reward I really want to get that I have to do a stupid thing in to get it. Like in the Master Chief Collection, there was a challenge I had to do to get a piece of armor unlocked that they finally released. It was a limited time challenge. It was like I think it was a week. It was a community challenge or something, a weekly challenge, and I didn't want to have to do it, but I also didn't want to forfeit getting that piece of armor because it actually not only would have added some more armor, but it looked like it would have been cool to put on my guy, so I had to do it.
Okay.
But it's basically survive or do an assassination on an elite in Halo Reach to survive a fall that would have been fatal. In other words, I have to jump off a really high place, sprinting, and try to assassinate an elite. Because there's one level where you get a chance to do that, but the elite also isn't always in the right spot, and sometimes you have to deactivate the sprint in order to do it, because if you're stay in sprint mode, you can't seem to. Even when you're pressing the button, you can't seem to assassinate, and so I just fall, and then the elite turns around and is like, "Oh, where'd he come from?" But I wouldn't say games per se that I'm afraid to play, but right as at this point, I haven't become desperate since Lego Star Wars. Like, I wasn't even desperate for Dead Island 2. I was just interested, but Lego Star Wars because, I mean, obviously at the time we didn't know anything about it, so could only go by what we hope we see in it, and of course things I was hoping for didn't come to pass. Like the thing I always bring up when I talk about Lego games nowadays is no respawning enemies, except on Geonosis a little bit and Naboo swamps a little bit, but they don't have enemies.
Yeah.
But I like the graphics and the combat for the most part. I was kind of hoping you could drive capital ships in it too, but we can't do that either. We can only board them.
Yeah.
And can't even get into like maybe a turret and have like a capital ship battle mini game or something. But
Yeah, I think they had that in Lego Star Wars 3.
Yeah, but there's nothing lately that I've been desperate for. I mean, I only get games if I'm really bored and I don't want to play one I've already played, and that's why Black Flag entered the fray. Partly that, and partly because I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean at the time a lot, and I really wanted to play a game where I could use cannons. And in my Pirates Disney Infinity gameplay, that's what I do a lot. I change the ship appearance a few times, and I switch between the three characters, Davy Jones, Barbossa, and Sparrow, and it's actually fairly more simple than Black Flag, but it's still pretty good for the most part. I mean, it's a massive. There's kind of two areas. I didn't remember this until I played it, but there's actually two massive areas of ocean or sea that you can drive the ship around a little, and
okay.
Yeah, and you fight either, apparently, I don't remember the story either, but you fight either Salfang ships, and that's what Gibbs always says every time you encounter one. He says, Salfang ship, ahoy captain, or whatever. And you also fight Royal Navy, and that's about it. You fight the Dutchman at the end of the story, but that's a one-time thing. But yeah, it's a pretty simple, much simpler looking when you see it in my gameplay. It's much simpler looking than Black Flag, but it still does the job for the type of game it is, and the rating, of course.
Yeah, no, we definitely need more pirate games. I mean, there's that Black Flag, Lego Pirates, I guess. Sea of Thieves is whatever. The new Ubisoft game, what's that called? Freaking, I don't even know.
Assassin's Creed Shadows.
It's a new
one.
Yeah, duh. I don't know, something like that, something weird. But yeah, we need more of them. But you see, I had Disney Infinity, and then for some, I wanted to get back into it like you, but I read that you can't play Disney Infinity 1.0 on Series X. It's only 360.
Yeah. Which sucks
and my
for
360
you.
broke.
Yeah.
So I'm out of luck.
Yeah. Well, come here someday, and my 360. If my 360 is still working by then, you can try it out.
Yeah. All right. There you go.
Yeah, it's basically like I mean, it's kind of got the simplicity of a Lego game. The attack button is one thing, the block button is another, and it's got toys to life, so everything, at least the characters look like figurines the whole time, even when they're moving. It's kind of like it's kind of like if you were doing like Toy Story, but in Pirates of the Caribbean. That's just one example. I mean, obviously, there's more than pirates for it, but
yeah. Oh, there's a lot.
Yeah, there's Lone Ranger even.
Like I said, I know. I remember doing the Lone Ranger open world, and like, man, when I was a kid, like I liked open world, but now as an adult, I freaking love open world. So it's like, man, I wish I could have played that more. Wish I had it.
That's kind of.
I just have Lego Dimensions.
How would you label open world? Would you label it as a genre or a style? Or whatever.
Yeah, and probably a style.
Yeah.
Because you can you look at like Far Cry. That's open world, but it's also a shooter.
Yeah.
And an RPG.
So would you say open world is your favorite genre?
I think
style?
So. I mean,
because
I think it would be.
Yeah, it's kind of your last Jedi of styles for games.
Right, it's the last Jedi of video games.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's all I've been doing recently. So, but yeah, so
we got to keep going with Black Flag. You got to finish it.
Yeah, I will once I get bored enough.
Yeah.
I've just been, playing games are fun, but after you play, even if you're playing different ones, it just does get boring altogether after a while. And I haven't been doing that. Not to mention over here, it's been really hot for the last few days, so I haven't been wanting to cook my Xbox. So.
That's true. Yeah.
But,
I was sweating just sitting down.
Yeah, so we got...
What do you do?
Yeah, so we've got time for one, maybe two topics, so I'll just start with this one, and if we have time for another one, we can go on to it. So, sorry to have to bring this one up, but Godzilla X Kong, because I was listening to your reviews recently, just because I got bored. And
hey, support, that's good.
Yeah. And
I was bored more often.
I was not logged in, so I basically gave you a free view as just an audience, I guess, member. But yeah, I don't know if I asked you this back when we did the one after you'd actually seen it, but is there anything in that movie that you felt did better than Skull Island?
The new one?
Yeah.
Well, I like the lore. I think that the lore is better, because Skull Island is kind of like a starting point for Kong.
Yeah.
And I do like the lore. I like the atmosphere with Gia and the Oogway, whatever people.
Iwi, right?
Oogway. Yeah, I was close. I like that. I like the
Oogway's from Kung Fu Panda.
I know. It just popped in my head. I like the, what do you call it? I like the character arcs that Kong goes through. Godzilla kind of does go through a little bit.
One criticism of the movie.
Kong. Yeah. But, I mean, I do like... I think it would probably be my third favorite one. I mean, I'd have to rewatch them, but I'm on MCU rewatch, so I have Marvel brain.
Yeah, I know. And you probably don't even have it yet, do you?
No, I didn't buy it. No. I got to one day.
Yeah, because I'm waiting to see your unboxing for that one. So
I just bought 3 games from my paycheck, so
yeah.
I'll be unboxing those.
Okay. As long as one of them is your Elden Ring DLC one.
No, well, yeah, that's a digital purchase. You can't really.
Yeah.
I mean, you can buy the.
Yeah, I know.
Thing,
I was just saying, like, because you said you were gonna buy it once you got your money, so
Yeah, I need to buy it.
But yeah, did you? did you find maybe it was a little easier to follow than the other ones, given the smaller group of humans?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, it's more concise in its storytelling. I think that Godzilla King of the Monsters is probably the most confused. I mean, none of them confused me. They're not like hard to get movies, but there's a lot going on in some of these movies with like the plot contrivances and all that. So this one felt more straightforward. But, you know, not simple and stupid and easy for babies, but like straightforward as in like it's not overly, you know, critical where you have to like, oh, wait, what's going on? Who's this? Who is this guy? What's going on? You know, it's more concise, which I like.
You're not having to really, you know, break a sweat trying to figure it out. It's fairly decent to get. So.
And another thing is that a lot of I don't know if I don't know who told me this, but they were like, oh, there's this one is basically all monster action. There's no human stuff. It's all monsters. Humans are there, but they don't do nothing. Yeah. They do a lot. Like there's Gia goes through a little arc. Every human. Maybe the Trapper guy doesn't so much, but a lot of the people, they do things. You know, it's not just monster fighting the whole time. And that's what makes the Monsterverse so good, is that you get the badass monster stuff, but you also get unique character things, which, I mean, that's every movie ever, right? It's not like a new thing. But I'm glad they don't go straight with just, oh, it's a big monkey and a big lizard. Like, no, there's a story here, and I like it.
Yeah, definitely. I don't remember seeing a review saying it was all monster fights. I mean, I didn't expect monster fights to be the only thing in the movie. I mean, as cool as they always are, of course, I don't expect to just see them. Granted, sometimes I wish we saw them sooner than others, and you know, like Godzilla 2014 is a good example because, you know, you think when Godzilla finally is revealed for the first time in the movie, like fully, and he roars at that winged Muto, everybody was expecting to at least see one fight, and then Gareth Edwards cut it to Ford Brody's son on the couch, and
a
lot of people were not.
Weird, I'm not gonna lie.
A lot of people were not happy about that, you know, because that's perhaps the one MonsterVerse movie where there is only one fight really, because it's at the end. You don't see the.
I mean, they were trying to figure out what this universe was.
Yeah, but you know, you only see Godzilla at the end fight him. I mean, I guess you sort of see the fight on the TV, but it's very you don't know, like, what did I miss? Like, because after that, it then cuts to daytime in Hawaii, and then you see buildings that are destroyed, and it's like, well, they're destroyed. What happened in the fight that got this building to look like this, you know?
Yeah, we gotta put it together in our minds.
Yeah, but other than that, you know, like, I of course don't expect just full-on monster action the entire time, but, you know, it's good when you do get it, and you kind of wish it, once you see it, you wish it would last longer, because, you know, like, it's like that in any movie, really. Like, the space battle in Episode 3, I wish they would have been longer once you start seeing all the ships firing at each other. I wish it didn't end with them crashing Grievous's half-ship, you know, on the thing. I wish it would have shown more of the space battle after that, but, you know, or whatever. Or what do you do? You know, Avengers Endgame, you wish you'd see more of the final battle going on, because there's characters galore that we don't see do anything in there, you know, like they show up during that portal scene, and that's all you see of them. You know, you don't see you don't see War Machine do anything. You don't see all bark and no bite Hulk do anything real. Well, you see him do maybe two things, and that's all. But War Machine especially, you don't really see him do anything. He just kind of appears in this big armor, and then at the end when Tony dies, you know.
I think was he a Skrull then, or I don't know, something like that. I don't remember.
No, he wasn't a Skrull. At least not in. And this is where I'm gonna enter sort of hater territory. He's not a Skrull in my head canon.
Right? Yeah.
'Cause-
I haven't finished the Secret Invasion show, so I don't know when he was a Skrull. But
Yeah, well, I haven't seen it. Period. So I don't consider it canon, I guess. But that's kind of a dumb thing anyway. If he's been a Skrull all this time, and
yeah,
it's kind of it kind of would feel like a gut punch to suddenly learn that now at all times right now. Don't learn about it earlier, like when the Skrulls were introduced. You have to learn about it well after Rhodey has done his endgame stuff, and the next thing is Armor Wars, supposedly. But
if that even releases.
Yeah, but yeah.
The next topic, which I think we'll have to get into next time, because I'm assuming we're over an hour, is
and your
Captain
PC's
America:
dying?
Brave New World. Well, that and that's a big factor.
Yeah.
But the trailer for Captain America: Brave New World released today. I don't know if you saw the trailer, but
No.
I'm gonna have a video on it, probably.
I saw a thumbnail of
soon.
Echo's reaction video. I saw a thumbnail. I didn't see his reaction.
Okay.
I saw it when I was watching your GXK review. So no, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Yeah, well, watch it. It's a cool trailer. I filmed my reaction to it, and then the audio got corrupted because, of course. So I still need to refilm it. But at least at the time of recording this podcast, you guys
You'll just
probably out by now.
You'll have to put your actor skills to the test and look surprised when you watch it again, right?
I know. I know. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
It's a good trailer. I mean, it's genuinely a good trailer. I'm excited for that. I would watch that. Like when we're done talking here, go whip it on. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe I will. So, yeah. Does he show up in his, Falcon and Winter Soldier suit, or is it a completely new one? Of course, I'm not asking you to tell me specifics. Just, is it the same suit?
I think it is, yeah, because you see him with the wings and you see him without the wings.
Oh yeah. And it's kind of white, white with blue stars.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. We get a shot of that. Harrison Ford is Thunderbolt Ross now.
Yeah.
I think. Well, I won't ruin it. You go watch the trailer, and then that'll be the topic for the next podcast.
Okay.
Because you have to watch it before we can talk about it. But yeah, I'm excited to see that movie. It looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, I might. Well, if I do see it, I don't know if it'll be in theaters or if it'll be on physical, because at the time it'll be in the winter time, and I'm also planning on seeing Sonic 3, which I admit I look more forward to, because Sonic has actually been good lately, as opposed to MCU post Endgame, or I should say post Far From Home. Yeah, post Far From Home.
Yeah, right.
Because Far From Home is apparently technically the last Phase 3 movie.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I guess we should call it here then, if your PC's gonna die. So.
Yeah, that, and I think over an hour, I don't think people would watch it. For over an hour.
I do. I like, when I watch podcasts for entertainment, especially ours, I watch them for entertainment, but also, it's also, and I kind of encourage you to do this. I know you say you're not a podcast person, but you should still watch them once in a while, because it might inspire new topics. That's how a lot of my topics come to be, because you mention something in one podcast, and then I'm like, that would be an interesting topic to actually get more in depth with, and not to mention you
get more ideas.
Not to mention sometimes you say like, next topic we'll talk about it more, and so of course I have to put that as a topic, so make sure we do it in the next one, right?
Right.
So
it's all good.
But anyway, yeah. So,
yeah, we'll have more. Well, I definitely want to talk about Brave New World next time, and then I'm sure we'll have other.
You mean the trailer anyway?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that, and I still have to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. So.
Yeah.
Because
I want to do that too.
Yeah.
And maybe Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, sure, we could talk about that. I mean, I'm probably not getting it, but then there's lots of games that you've played that are getting that I won't get. But they're good discussions, even if I'm not interested or whatever.
Right.
But
I'll tell you if it's good.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't interested in Hogwarts Legacy, and we still had a fairly good talk about that several podcasts ago. So, and I was the one who brought it up. So,
yeah, nice job.
Yeah. So, but yeah, hopefully you folks are, if you did stick around, you hopefully, enjoyed our podcast. I know the first about 20 or so minutes was a bit dark and stuff, but it is a problem, and so it's something that it's important
to bring it up.
It's important to spread awareness, especially with recent events about the thing in particular. Anyway, like it was it was the Godzilla fandom that started this thing. It was all about the Godzilla fandom, but every fandom period needs to it needs to be spread. Awareness needs to be spread about all of them, not just one, because fandoms
for sure.
fandoms are not king's halls. They're more like rat sewers.
Yeah, the bowels of hell sometimes. I swear.
Yeah.
On a lighter note, though, if you did enjoy the podcast, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Really does help both of us out. I'm trying my hardest to get to 2,000. Yeah. Probably happen when I'm 68 years old, but
I'm trying hard to get to 22.
Yeah, guys, please subscribe to Recon Trooper. I believe he's hopefully going to be posting more regularly now that he actually has a video that isn't a podcast.
Well, that all depends on, because that just kind of came because of what I was reading this week. But I'm not really like you where I post reviews and stuff. Not to mention I admit my brain isn't entirely as smart as it should be a lot of times, so I kind of suck at reviews. I basically would review something based on what I liked about it, and not, critical things about it, like if the story was good or not. It'd be more like, I totally like that part when he punches that guy, and then that drop kick when he hits that guy, that was also cool. But I didn't quite like it when he just kind of sucker punched that guy. It looked kind of weak, so I'm gonna give it a B-. That's kind of how I would review a movie or whatever.
It is a critique. I'll give you that. It is a critique.
So, but yeah, I'll try.
Whatever you want.
I'll try. I mean, it's also just figuring out what to post, because I don't, like I say, I don't do reviews very much. I've only done 2 reviews, but otherwise, there's not much. I mean, there's not many, my thoughts, as I call them now. There's not many my thoughts videos. Most of those were, there's 2 of them before Lego Star Wars came out, because one was about what the next Lego game I thought should be, and also my thoughts on the Lego Star Wars, situation as a whole. So, and now it's my thoughts on fandoms, which is less than an hour, but
like 2 minutes. Maybe watch do like a gameplay series.
Well, I could. The only problem is that my Xbox doesn't. Sometimes the audio for some reason messes up at random spots in a recording, and so it kind of like has a staticiness to them, and so I would have to do that without audio on the gameplay anyway. So yeah.
Oh, you'll figure something out.
Yeah, I mean, I could. I think I have Lego Pirates on my Xbox One. Maybe I'll just do a thing on that. But
perfect.
I don't know. If I do, I'll figure it out. If I don't, then I'll figure something else out. But anyway, before your PC...
See what sticks.
Yeah, before your PC dies on you and cuts off our wonderful discussion. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the podcast as long as and talkative as it was. And any closing remarks besides your usual one?
No, I had fun, and then we'll talk about Brave New World, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Star Wars Outlaws, and some other fun stuff. So make sure to look forward to that.
Yeah.
And I probably will have a podcast with Echo Killshot soon-ish.
Yeah.
And then I'll do more with Recon, and yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. So look forward to more podcasts in the future from both of us and content in general. So thank you guys for listening, and I had fun. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.
Later, folks.